Welcome, everyone. I'm Dave Ginsberg, VP of Product Solutions Marketing at Aryaka Networks, the Cloud First WAN company. And I have with me today Richard DeLaser, who's SVP of Global Infrastructure for World Fuel Services. Welcome, Richard.
Dave, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Thank you very much, and I hope everything's safe on your end. What we're going to dive into today are some observations from Richard and World Fuel Services on changing environment for CIOs, for network infrastructure, for multi-cloud connectivity, and then really a look ahead into 2021, which should hopefully be a little bit less challenging than 2020. So with that, Richard, why don't you give us a little bit of introduction first on what World Fuel Services is, what it does, and what are your unique attributes you bring to the world at large?
Sure thing, and I do hope 2021 is a bit nicer to us than this year. World Fuel is a diversified energy company, Fortune 100, based out of Miami, and we do a combination of traditional fuel services in aviation, marine, land-based industries, and anywhere essentially there's an airport or a seaport, we tend to have a presence. So global company. The other part of the offering that we have is we're quite large in the energy management space. So we help large commercial and industrial companies really get control of their global energy spends. Big sustainability practice as well. And I think, like the rest of the planet, we're really working on how we transition from your historical fossil fuels in terms of energy into more sustainable sources. So my team, I've got people who write software that control wind farms and natural gas pipelines. We write machine learning algorithms to help predict natural power prices. So really World Fuel, the way we look at it sometimes is we feel like we're a technology company masquerading as an energy company.
Yeah, and true. A lot of companies are actually in the space where IT really drives competitiveness, drives the organization going forward, as opposed to just being like on the side as it might have been a decade or two ago. With that, given that you're one of our larger customers at Aryaka Networks, what were some of the decision points that went into selecting us for your managed WAN connectivity?
Well, very early on, we made a decision to become a cloud-first company and essentially get out of the business of running our own data centers. And we wanted to set a really aggressive top-down goal to do that. And I think that's much better than the alternative of dipping your toe in the water and seeing how it works out. Mm-hmm. And so far that's been successful for us. We've closed 20 out of 22 data centers, shifted the majority of infrastructure to AWS, and we're on track to close down the last 2 data centers next year. So we've got big aspirations when it comes to cloud. And I think the one piece that is often missed in any large-scale cloud migration is the reliance on the network. So I think we worked out pretty quickly that the network is really the foundation of any strong cloud migration. And over the years, we've acquired a lot of companies, and every time you acquire a company, you seem to acquire the legacy technical debt, you acquire all the data center networks and all the software and hardware. So we had a big job in front of us to really drive a lot of simplification through the environment, digitize the company, and help become help move to a cloud-first company. So and Aryaka was one of the key partners that we chose to help us do that. And I think when it comes to the network, I'm sure we may get into the features and functions of Aryaka down the track. But what we looked for was we wanted to consume our network in the same way we consume cloud, which is essentially that network as a service model. And at the same time, we wanted to make sure that the company we work with and the partners we work with are really culturally aligned to who we are and who we want to be. And that's, those are 2 of the core reasons why we chose Aryaka.
Thank you. That's some great insight. So let's shift over to the pandemic environment, still top of mind, obviously, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But in terms of the pandemic, Specifically in two areas. One, how's it impacted the shift to remote workers, what a lot of people are calling the hybrid workplace? And second, the strategic alignment of the cloud consumption model and the network consumption model, and how that's coming together.
Yeah, and I think the two are certainly related. We've been doing a lot of forward thinking about what the future of work looks like, and particularly around the ongoing use of corporate real estate and remote working. And I think pre-pandemic, I think we had an over-reliance on coming into the office and working. And so we're now looking at and we have exited a significant number of real estate leases. I'm sure you've seen the press from Facebook, Twitter, and these companies doing the same thing. So generally, people are working remotely a lot more, and I think it's less about real estate and more companies rethinking how teams collaborate and how companies are run going forward. So, a major shift there. And I think we're no different. We're trying to embrace that. And part of our strategy to do that is to make sure that we our team, our staff have the best collaboration tools they can. We've been working for a long time on cloud-based collaboration tools. That's been very successful as well. So I think that's probably the answer to the first part of the question there. And the second part is, absolutely we need to continue consuming cloud and cloud services and network services, as we need. So this elasticity concept of cloud is really important, whether it's software as a service, network as a service, infrastructure as a service. That really gives the companies the ability to deliver technology rapidly and to innovate at the pace of a startup. And that's what we talk about is, one of the huge benefits of being in cloud now is that we're a large corporate and we can rock it like a startup. So that's really the flexibility that it gives you.
That's great. And so based on what you just described, what do you think your biggest learnings were from the last 9 to 12 months, and how would you communicate those?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest learning is that we can't forget the human element of the whole pandemic. I think whether it's building a network at Aryaka or delivering energy services at World Fuel, it's still powered by human beings. And I saw an article the other day that said I think everyone's going to be delivering more empathetic performance reviews this time of year because of the pandemic. And it's just unfortunate that it takes a pandemic for us to realize that we should really be empathetic to our team. And I think companies that focus on having a great culture, a great work environment, and spend a lot of time on how you operationalize that culture, I think they'll be the companies that continue to thrive in this environment.
Yeah, and we see that as well, where we have to be very cognizant of work-life balance, people Zoom burnout, as we sometimes call it, and people just losing track of when the day begins, when the day ends, and eventually they reach a breaking point. So I totally agree. The human element is front and center here. Going into the new year, as I said earlier, hopefully it's going to be easier for all of us. But what types of new strategies are you considering? What are your top priorities?
Well, I think like most other CIOs, the priorities for next year are making sure we finish the priorities from this year as well. So and just pushing through that. And I say that half jokingly, but what I mean by that as well is it's so important to follow through on some of these strategies like cloud, like building your SD-WAN and your network, building a great collaboration environment. And, it would be easier for us to stop, now that we've closed 20 of 22 data centers. But actually, there's still a lot of effort to close those remaining 2. And there's still an ongoing effort to keep making the experience for our staff better. So the continual push to be a digital company is one key piece. I think another emerging trend that's really interesting is, I saw this statistic the other day that 65% of new application development by 2025 would be the low code, no code style piece. So, it really comes back to this concept of you've got to have this two-speed technology team where they're comfortable delivering enterprise software, and they're also comfortable, punching out really useful, quick applications and things like that. So I think that piece will be interesting. But what that means is whole companies are starting to become digital. So that the whole, this skill set or this mindset of being a digital company, it has to spread beyond IT, and I think it will spread beyond IT. And when a good example, when we did all of our cloud migration, a lot of our internal team now, there's hundreds of people with at least the base level Amazon certification. And all the engineers have all the top level engineering and architectural certifications, but we've got people from HR who've got the Amazon certification, from our real estate team, from our finance team. So it's really interesting. Once you start pushing into this digital space, it really gets momentum.
So earlier, we mentioned the cloud consumption model. And so, be brutally honest here with us. From the standpoint of the cloud providers, your AWSs and your Azures, your SaaS application providers, and even Aryaka, I mean, what areas of improvement do you see? If you had a wish list, what would be on that wish list?
Well, I think the vast majority of those examples, those companies that you gave, play very well together in terms of how they integrate and how they hang together. And what we see generally is pretty good spread across each of those companies culturally. And I think that the principle we have is we partner with companies we aspire to be like. So I think what I would like to see is more collaboration, really to take that up a notch, because what we're seeing now is we're used to connecting offices. So whether it's a whether it's a corporate office or whether it's a remote site or a group of people we have at an airport, that's really switched over now from our job was connecting offices. Now it's actually connecting people's homes and end users. So I think the ability for that experience to be much more seamless than it currently is today is really important. And a lot of these services are technically very, very good, but the user experience sucks. So what we need to get to is this concept where all of those collaboration tools are very, very seamless. And whether you're at Starbucks, whether you're at home, whether you're in the office, we can manage that network connectivity. We still get the application acceleration, and we still get the security and all the features that way as well.
Yeah, we sometimes call it the first-class citizen. Really, you want to make your worker a first-class citizen with regard to corporate services, applications, and productivity, no matter where they are in the world, no matter what time of day, and no matter what location. So with that, let me go on to the final question. Back to, and once again, you introduced this term as well, cloud first strategy. And so, looking at that, what are the most important skill sets within your organization, and what partnerships do you have to bring to the table? And I know on the skill set side, we've spoken previously about, whereas a decade ago it would have been CCIE, now it could be an AWS solution architect. Can you tease that out a little bit more, and what you're seeing, and how you're retraining and up-leveling your IT team?
Yeah, I think it's a insightful question, because cloud migration is really a game of two things. One is the talent piece that we'll talk about, and the second is around finance. So you've got to be on top of both of those pieces. And I think to give talk to the Aryaka example you mentioned, it's very challenging to try and attract, develop, and retain a team of 20 CCIEs to run a global network. And even if you have partners in the mix, it's problematic, because you're worrying about managing devices and logistics of shipping things all around the place, and warranties and break fix and everything else. Whereas, I think we wanted to refocus our technology team on how do we build great experiences for our staff and how do we build great experiences for our customers and partners. So, running data centers and running down to the minutiae, running a global network is not core to us. And I think we wanted to change the talent mix there to be able to support that. And I think the benefit of the Aryaka proposition is it's a managed WAN. So you get all of the insight and visibility and transparency and understanding of your network without having to spend hours and hours and hours and have a huge team to deploy that, support that, and move on. So that's one example of the talent. And I think generally there has to be, you've got to find a way to not only define the types of skills and talent that you need, but you've got to have a way to operationalize that as well. So any company thinking about a cloud migration will know that whether it's AWS, whether it's Azure, GCP, here are the list of skills that I need. I need four of this type of skill. I need 8 over here. And you've got to have a plan to operationalize that. So this concept of operationalizing talent and culture is really important as we go through that.
So last but not least, what haven't I asked? What do you, in the last 20 minutes we've been conversing, what's bubbled up in your mind, and what else would you like to share with everyone?
Well, I mean, I just say thank you to the my team, the global team. Thank you to the Aryaka team as well. We've spent a lot of time, and I think of the technology team and our partners as our first responders sometimes, in terms of we essentially sent over 5,000 people to work from home over a weekend, and that was relatively seamless for us. But it's because of a lot of the support that the team has given us, the combined team, and so just very grateful for that, and I'll say a big thank you to the team for that.
Okay, thank you, Richard.
Pleasure, Dave. Same to you and the team.
Thank you.
Aryaka, the cloud-first WAN company. Born of innovation and fueled by a passion for our customers.